Today, the latest on the President Trump Woodward interview everyone seems to be talking about. The movie Cuties on Netflix, is it as bad as we thought? And a new Joe Biden gaffe for everyone to come together and laugh at. Because that's what we're here to do today. Unite the people by laughing at Joe Biden gaffes. We've got a lot coming up, and it starts right now. Hey, welcome to the news and why it matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by two of my favorites, Jaco Booyens, host of the Jaco Booyens Show, who has just been dominating BlazeTV this week.
Thank you.
You've been, if you did not catch the special that Glenn did last night on what is going on in our schools here in this country, you got to catch it. And a lot of it was thanks to Jaco's research and hard work. So thank you for
Glenn did a good job.
All of that. Yeah. It was a great job for all of you. So thank all of you. And really, if you have kids, you need to watch that special. Also joined by Eric July, BlazeTV contributor. And tell me, Young Ripa, what are the digits? Young Ripa.
5'9".
Did I say Ripper?
Ripper, yeah. It's funny.
We were just talking
about that. I was just talking about that on like somebody else's show about how some people say it was a white thing, and how like when I go on white shows they say Ripper.
Well, folks, this is Young Ripper 5'9". Young Ripper 5'9". Yes, it's him.
Yes,
okay,
it's not a different person.
No,
it's the same guy.
Well, there are some people who are, well, where can I find Eric? Well, what is his YouTube? It's Young Ripper.
Yeah.
5'9".
Yeah.
Okay, get on it.
No R at the end, though.
No, it's it's A.
I'm just helping.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, I don't know my slang enough. All right, so the bombshell interview everyone is talking about today, the President Trump Bob Woodward interview that apparently President Trump gave him during the coronavirus pandemic when it was really starting to take hold. It was February 7th. So really, we're just learning about it. We're starting to develop our response to it here in the United States. And President Trump decided to give a whole bunch of big info and juicy details to Bob Woodward. Don't know why he did that, but apparently he did. And everyone is talking about a couple different things that President Trump mentioned. Number one, and we'll play it for you here in a second. Number one, that the Trump said, in his Trumpian way of just kind of talking everything kind of in his head out loud. He said that the coronavirus is deadly and maybe more deadly than the flu. And then he said that, he didn't want to create a panic. And so let's go ahead and let's play the clip. And then I want to get, gentlemen, your thoughts on not only what he meant, but the public outcry that has happened as a result of it. Listen.
It's a very tricky situation. It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. The touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. This is more deadly. This is 5 per. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff. Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes,
because I don't want to create a panic.
Now, I listen to that and I don't hear the bombshell that I'm told exists. Am I missing something?
Yeah, when you have a shovel and you dig, you're going to find something. They want something. So let's lay this down real quick. Last week you have Cuomo on that says the president did nothing until the end of March. Here's a recording from February, right? And he did something in January, right? And everything he's saying, he's not a doctor. The President of the United States is not a doctor. What he's saying, he was told. He was told by Fauci, oh, it's airborne, it's not touch. The same Fauci comes later and goes, oh, no, it's touch. Oh, no, you need gloves and stuff, right? He's regurgitating information he was giving. Fauci told him 200 million Americans are going to die, around the world, and 5% is going to die, et cetera. Then we find out it's not 5%. He was literally regurgitating what he had been told very early in the COVID situation. So what do you want the man to do? And as the leader of the free world, he actually said something in that interview, I didn't want the world to panic. He has enough savvy to understand when I stand at this podium, what I say will echo around the world, right? It will have an impact. That was not even him speaking from his own mind. That was him saying what he was told. 5%, it's airborne, oh, it's not, oh, masks, oh, not, right? No bombshell.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, to Jaco's point, how can we expect that President Trump would get all of these facts completely right when all of the doctors who were advising him changed their minds every day?
Yeah, every day that's about right. Yeah,
right. Like that's not even an overstatement. It's literally every day there was something new.
It'll change depending on who you're talking to and when you get them. But the only thing that I think out of there that people are dwelling on is this whole idea when he was saying that he wanted to play it down. And I think people are trying to look at that and say, well, he wasn't taking it serious, though it's like they want to make it seem as if he's trying to set people up, right, for failure and say, well, I knew it was bad, but I just didn't for the sake of not sending out this mass panic, right, to everybody in either my country and the other countries. So I played it down. And that's the angle that a lot of these people are taking. Now, I totally understand the idea. I mean, definitely as a man, you know, and you got kids and you kind of understand that how you have to be that guy. Like you have to be that leader. You have to be, even if the situation is dire, you have to be like even killed and understand that, because if you break down, everything falls
apart.
Everything falls apart.
The worse the situation, you ask any Navy SEAL, in absolute chaos, be calm.
Yeah.
Because if you say, oh, the world's going to burn, well, the leader of the free world says it's going to burn. And if he went out in February, first week in February, and said, a lot of people are going to die.
We're all going to die, folks. Let's wrap it up and take it in.
You think you saw some Nikes being stolen from, it would have been looting and anarchy in the street.
Right.
99% of the stuff that happens to our country by other countries, the public never know about, nor should they, as far as, hey, it's being handled by law enforcement, because you will incite panic in the streets. Imagine if there's one problem child in a school and the principal comes over the loudspeaker and informs everybody, about what's potentially a threat. You just can't operate that way.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Like, you can't do that. And so I understand it. Mm-hmm. Now, it turns out, and obviously looking at it, I guess hindsight, whatever, we know it wasn't even that bad. It's still not that bad, though they're still trying to perpetuate this idea. But I think what we're seeing now is that how political this whole virus thing really is. And I'm still trying to get even people that follow me to really understand that it's angles that people are taking, and the virus is just the excuse to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. These people are evil, you know what I mean? And I mean that. I mean that sincerely. Like, these are very evil people. If you don't think that they would say something or do something such as shut the state down for the sake of making someone else look bad, you're crazy. That's exactly something they would do in an election here. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because, yes, there are other people's livelihoods that are being ruined because of this. They're losing their jobs, they're losing their businesses, life savings, and they're not getting out on the other side of this. If you don't think that they're evil enough to understand that and still do it, you're crazy. But this is what this shows. So they're going to reach no matter how far they have to go back, because they want to make him look bad. And they're telling you this. And I don't know what I have to do if I got to go to each individual that watches me and shake them by the shoulders. Like, pay attention, dude. Like, this is exactly what they're doing. They're evil like that.
Yeah. We got 50-something days left, right? So they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at us.
Oh, yeah.
And you can actually look at the president and say, great foresight, sir. Mm-hmm. The CDC only just said they overstated deaths by 96%.
That's it. That's just a little bit,
Little miss. Yeah. I mean, it's just
minor details. All right. I do agree with the overall point. It is difficult because you do want your leader, you do want your president to be truthful. Yep. But at the same time, as a member of this country, you can also understand what good is it going to do if they're like, hey, so there's a big asteroid that's about to hit the Earth, and you have about 30 minutes to live before we all blow up.
We think.
Like, what? Right, we think.
Yeah, we think.
I mean, what good is it going to do to tell people something that is only going to incite panic, make things worse? You can understand the thought process of, what good will this do just to create panic, negative feelings, uncertainty. Let's let this play out and keep addressing it behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I think what happens is like you for whatever reason, America, and I guess the rest of the world does in that aspect as well, is they look at like the president and they look at more so the president and they act like everything that man does, we have to make our adjustment based upon what he does. So we have to either wait on him. And I don't think that's, first of all, obviously the guy at the table that hates the government in all shape, forms, and fashion. Of course, I'm going to say that. But seriously, it's like.
Tell us how you feel.
Right? No, but like when you look at Donald Trump and you look at even like his response, I think there's a problem here when you look at that. And I don't care if it was Obama in that seat or whoever it was. And you say, well, he has to do something and, it has to impact all of us. What do you mean? He knew something that we didn't know. A lot of this information that he was going by the way, we all had access to it as well.
Well,
Let's
right.
be fair.
And I think it would be different if he wasn't trotting out two doctors who obviously were not under his spell, right? She was trotting out two doctors every single day to brief the public, even when they disagreed with him.
Right.
That's not a man who's trying to hide things from the general public.
Yeah, and then like what would it be to hide? Like all that definitely in February, because I was doing the videos about it, so we had the data.
Sarah makes a very, very valid point. I'll tell you this, if he didn't throttle the situation a little bit, Fauci would have cried doomsday. It was Armageddon. If you let Fauci and Birx run this show by themselves, oh geez, people would go be in bunkers and hide out.
True.
I mean, so I could even see him internally going, dang, what they're telling me 4 minutes before I walk out on the stage, you tell the American public that we're going to have anarchy and we don't even know that we know our facts yet.
Yeah.
Remember, this is February again, right?
Right.
What did they know? What did the world know in February really about this?
Yeah. Speaking of Fauci, when we come back after the break, let's get to a little bit of a plot twist here for those who are looking to sink their teeth into this juicy rumors about President Trump and he deceived Americans and all these. Yeah, Dr. Fauci's like, he didn't Trump was good in this aspect. And when you got Fauci on Trump's side, you got to know it might be much ado about nothing. First, though, we want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Mobile. So really sadly, America's students are caught up in the politics of coronavirus. And, it's just their education that hangs in the balance. No big deal. Eric referred to it earlier, that they're going to play with everyone's lives just because they want a political win here. That is also counting our students. So to support the next generation of freedom-loving Americans, Patriot Mobile is running a school days promotion. You got to jump on it, though. You've only got a couple days left. It is until September 12th. You can get a free phone or a free month of service when you switch to Patriot Mobile. Now, don't forget, Patriot Mobile is America's only conservative cell phone carrier. So instead of charging these hidden fees and then donating part of your bill to places like Planned Parenthood and places that are going to take your guns away, or at least that's their intent, Patriot Mobile will donate a portion of your bill to Students for Life. So they support the causes that you support with your hard-earned money as well. You're going to get the same coverage, same nationwide coverage. It's 2020. You can keep your phone number. They make it very, very easy. All you have to do is go to patriotmobile.com/news. Use the promo code NEWS, and you can choose that free month or a free phone. By the way, if you're a veteran or a first responder, you can save even more. So you got to go to patriotmobile.com/news. Back in a minute. All right, so as I mentioned before the break, Dr. Fauci bursting some people's bubbles today as he came out and said President Trump did not actually distort the COVID threat. Here is what Dr. Fauci had to say refuting Bob Woodward's claims. Watch.
He really didn't say anything different than we discussed when we were with him. So I may not be tuned in to the right thing that they're talking about, but I didn't really see any discrepancies between what he told us and what we told him and what he ultimately came out publicly and said.
So did you get a sense that he was or wasn't playing this down?
No, I didn't. I didn't get any sense that he was distorting anything. I mean, in my discussions with him, they were always straightforward about the concerns that we had. We related that to him. And when he would go out, I'd hear him discussing the same sort of things.
Kind of exactly like you guys were saying. There's a difference in distorting something and hiding it from the general public and trying to just maintain like a positive atmosphere for the country and for the world.
Like I said, he was saying what he was told. There you hear it from the doctor, who I normally do not agree with.
Right.
Okay, I'm not a Fauci fan.
However, but you would say if Fauci could have something to criticize Trump on, he has shown in the past that he will do that.
He will
why
jump
not
on
do
it
it here if it's true?
We said off the air, he's even disagreed with the president on the podium.
Right.
Which you said, president pushed him, made him a household name, for crying out loud.
Right.
So the public has had access to Dr. Fauci. The world has that. And he would jump on it in a heartbeat, which just tells you now that, good for him saying, no, this is not, because he could have.
Right.
And he didn't, because he knows the truth. No, I agree with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's tape, there's video footage. I mean, there's nothing to really argue about here that, like we've all been saying, that they pushed him and Merckx in front of everybody with Trump standing right behind them. So to sit up here and talk about like early on this whole downplay, that doesn't even make sense. I don't even know where that comes from unless they saw something different that I did not see.
No, they're desperate.
I was in a different dimension or something, and when I was seeing that, maybe I was in another reality, and that was not what I saw. But they saw it. I know they had to see it if we're in the current reality. The current universe, and we all saw this. So I don't know why there's this ultimate grasp for every straw to try to figure out, okay, what can we nail him on as it pertains to these viruses? And they'll go come out and say some of the most outlandish things when you have governors, right, in which they have the ultimate authority when it comes to, unfortunately, we felt the run of that here in Texas with Abbott. Yes, I will take shots at him every single chance I get. Nonetheless,
Chad Prather, 2022.
There you go. But nonetheless, when you got folks, like governors, the Cuomos of the world, and they sit up here and blame the president for deaths, is make no mistake, and it's they're saying this with so much confidence. These are not rational people. They're not looking at this objectively or anything. They just have their particular agendas and motives, and they have narratives that they have clung to. It has nothing to do with truth. It's more so this is where we want to go with it. How we get there? Do we have to be dishonest? Do we have to cling on to just any little minor thing and just blow it out of proportion? That's what we're going to do because they painted themselves in a corner.
Mm-hmm. It comes to mind on the sideline, little huddle, coaches in the middle, and the coach has no plan. And they go, what do we do? Just do something.
Yeah.
Do something. Grab something. Hit him with something. Hit him with, he played it down. This is what's happening. This is how desperate they are for the next 50-something days here to the election. It's just in that huddle, what do we do? Something. Play a tape. Get this, find that, and just run with it. Because how do we hoodwink the American people back into submission?
Yeah.
Back into obedience.
Yeah.
Because we've controlled them for so long, right? But we're not anymore. And that's what you're seeing. And actually, if that's all you've got, right? Like the Russia thing, the impeachment, we got this key witness and nothing. They don't have much.
Yeah. Speaking of the election, President Trump just unveiled a list of possible Supreme Court nominees if he wins re-election. Now, obviously, there is no current vacancy on the Supreme Court. But, you've got Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who I hope she lives a very long and healthy life, but she has had some health problems recently. She's 87. Justice Stephen Breyer is 82. Clarence Thomas is 72. So we've got some members who are getting up there in age. So it's only reasonable to talk about, if a vacancy should arise. President Trump did unveil a list. He raised some familiar names such as Judge Amy Coney Barrett, who I know he has floated before. Also Judge Thomas Hardiman. Judge Amy Coney Barrett is on the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Hardiman is the 3rd U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. And he also added Tom Cotton of Arkansas, Ted Cruz of Texas, and Josh Hawley of Missouri, all 3 sitting U.S. senators. Does this help or hurt him, Eric?
I mean, I guess it's something worth talking about. I mean, he's just giving people bait because they're gonna, of course, insinuate that, definitely with the RBG thing, this is what they're trying to do. I don't really look much into that, to be completely honest.
Well, remember the first election, 2016, there was so many people's reason for voting for Trump.
Well, yeah, they were talking about the Supreme Court. Yeah, that is very true. And I can understand the rationale when it comes to that. Definitely when you see this cultural change that seems to come with America, and there's more things that are these, landmark cases that are happening now more than ever as it pertains to a lot of different things. So they want their guys. Of course, the other side wants their guys. I just hate that it all has to come down to the people that are there. None of those names are anything that I'm like, oh, man, that'd be awesome. Give me Rand or Ron Paul. Maybe we'll have a discussion, and then I'll be like, oh, man, I'm actually interested in that. But I'm not. I totally understand. But listen, when we talk about the Supreme Court, I mean, when you look at the names that we've already got in there that come from that side, and then they start voting in ways that people are like, well, that's not what I signed up for. Yeah. Is this something that I'm supposed to be like, well, who's to say that person in the closet leftist or something like that? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, neither of them have really been the ace
exactly.
in the hole that people were promised. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this. This was a base play. He's talking to his base. And his base is saying, restore law and order. Stand with the police. Stand with the blue. And him speaking to, hey, I'm just having my ducks in a row. I redid my list because the previous list got shaky because of how Roberts voted, how Kavanaugh voted. Remember, we had a couple of votes there that the base was saying, whoa, this is not it. And so this is him just saying, speaking. I actually think this carries a lot of weight to his base. I think it carries a lot of weight, and it's an opportunity for him to say, show me what you got, Joe.
Yes, and
because
I will agree
now
with
it comes to, show me how many baby killers you're going to nominate for the Supreme Court.
Okay. Don't show me, show the world, show everyone else, because I already know.
See?
Because his base is already going to vote for him, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Trump base is the Trump base is the Trump base. Love all of you out there, by the way. But nothing is going to stop you guys from going to the polls on Election Day. I hope. I'm thinking. So his base is his base. I'm wondering how it fares with independents. But certainly, I think that, especially if he can get a list from Joe Biden to contrast his with, then maybe you're getting some independents to become interested because they're saying, well, hold on, Biden's is full of all of these left-leaning radicals who want to transform America and not just go by the Constitution. They're not originalists. And at least President Trump wants to stick with someone who, takes the Constitution into consideration.
Yeah, but Sarah, his base is his base. And I'm right in there, okay? But his base currently, big discussion is turn Roe v. Wade. So when you do this kind of stuff, his base is going, we better muster up at Supreme Court level.
So it's an enthusiasm.
It's an enthusiasm thing. It's a steroid shot. It's not, hey, let me convince you I'm still your guy.
Right.
It's more, we're on the right track.
Yeah.
The train's rolling, And then call Joe out and say, show the world your list. Because I don't know that Biden would do that, but there you're going to pull some contrast.
Biden doesn't know that Biden would do that either. Biden doesn't know much of anything. We'll get into that later on in the show. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Rough Greens. If you have a dog, your dog's part of the family, and dogs don't live as long as we'd like them to, right? So you got to make sure that you are giving your dog proper nutrition so that they can live as long and healthy life as they possibly can. That is where Rough Greens comes in, because probably you're feeding your dog this dry dog food that it doesn't, unfortunately, even though you're probably spending a gazillion dollars on it because you're like, I love my dog, I just want the best for them. Well, the dry dog food, actually everything that's good in it that was like supposed to be alive, that's good for your dog, was cooked out to give it the long shelf life. So they're missing out on the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, the probiotics, the omega oils that they need to really thrive, unless you're giving them Rough Greens. Rough Greens you actually sprinkle on top of the dog's food. It is not going to replace your dog's food. It's just a supplement that is going to give all of those nutrients that they need. It's going to give it back to them and put it back into their diet so they can have a happy and healthier lifestyle. If you've got any picky eaters, let me just tell you, I wish that my child ate his vegetables and his nutrients as well as my dog does, because I put it on the dog's food and she eats it right up. She never used to eat like she does now, and I know that she's getting proper nutrition. You can try it today. Take the Rough Greens 14-Day Jumpstart Challenge. It is $14.95. You will see the difference in your dog in those 14 days or less oftentimes. If you have an older dog, try it for them. It can improve joint mobility, stuff like that. Just make it a little bit easier for them to live out their last remaining years. You can go to roughgreens.com/blaze. That is RUFF greens.com/blaze. Hashtag cancel Netflix was trending on Twitter today amid a new wave of calls to boycott the Netflix streaming service after a scene from the movie that we discussed here on this show just what was it, weeks ago?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
We just discussed this movie, Cuties, after a scene from that movie went viral. Now, if you didn't join us on that day, the Cuties movie is about a group of 11-year-old girls who form a twerking dance group. Previously, this movie sparked controversy, obviously due to the sexualized poster that they displayed. It was a bunch of 11-year-old girls with scantily clad 11-year-old girls. What could possibly be wrong with that, except literally everything? So it finally surfaced, and here are a couple tweets on it from people who actually went to go see it. Let's look at editor-in-chief of Campus Reform, Cabot Phillips, who said, "So I thought the Cuties Netflix thing was being sensationalized, but the IMDb trigger warning literally describes female breast nudity of a minor. If you had that on your computer, you're going to jail. If it's on Netflix, it's art." And then I think we have one from, is it Matt Walsh? Yeah, Matt Walsh says, Netflix released that Cuties movie about twerking 11-year-olds. Fuller clips of the film are now circulating. It is way worse than I thought, and I thought it would be extremely bad. Very explicit sexual dancing, girls grabbing themselves, crotch shots, etc. These are children. Jaco, I have a feeling you're going to have something to say about this.
Man, I want to explode. Remember, I sat right there and they said, and Netflix said, we're going to pull down the poster.
Just the poster.
And I said, forget about pulling the poster, pull the whole film.
Yes.
Right? Because we're in this industry and I'd heard so much about production. Now just think for a second. If you're seeing it on the screen, there was an actual live 11, 14, 15-year-old playing an 11-year-old on a movie set with a DP and a camera operator in her crotch.
Yeah.
Understand, there was exploitation on the set.
Just to be able to make the movie.
Just to make the movie.
Right.
If you think the movie is bad, think about the actual girls and then their parents. Shame on you. You are doing what we call familial trafficking, literally putting your child out there for the love of money and exploiting them. They should pull the whole film. Now, the hashtag cancel Netflix, this is not Netflix's first go-around on this merry-go-round, okay? They do this because they have historically gotten away with it. And finally now, the public is saying enough is enough. But they've gotten away with, unfortunately, worse.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, this, I didn't think that they were going to pull it just because there were people, unfortunately, within that industry and other blue check marks that were defending this nonsense, and they're still defending it. They're still defending it today.
Well, and whenever the poster surfaced and people said, this is crazy, you guys, their defense was, if I'm not mistaken, no. The movie actually has like a moral twist to it. You got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, basically they were saying that it's not as bad because the American version of that particular promotional poster was different from the other. But that didn't change the content of it, right? The content of what the actual movie was. And now a lot of people are, like my Walsh said, videos are coming out. Yes, this is basically what people thought that it was, and really what they promoted it. They were accurate when they were initially promoting it. They were actually accurate, believe it or not. That's the problem, though.
Yep.
So I look, I know we all think there's some weirdos in be it in Hollywood and people that, the Netflixes of the world. And I believe this movie, if I'm not mistaken, won like a Sundance, what was an award of some sort before we ever got to it. So people saw it. People, for whatever reason, these are grown folk, thought that was okay. It's the same thing that I talk about when I talk about these garbage comic books that come out these days. You have to look at the level of, before you ever see it, before it ever comes on the rack on every Wednesday, think about the funnel that it had to go through before you ever saw it. I'm talking about the editors and all of that. Same thing, obviously, with movies. And nobody said, this is not right. Nobody, or they weren't powerful enough to stop it from happening. Right. That's speaking to a way larger issue than what we're speaking to in just that one movie existing. It went through all of those channels, and nobody could stop that, and nobody said, we shouldn't do that. It got filmed, and then it got put out. So all of that went through the entire funnel. That's speaking to a larger issue that we're starting to see coming to fruition. And a lot of folks that for years have been saying, like, you know, this is it's going to be a domino effect. Before you know it, we're going to be accepting something like this. And about 10 years ago, you know, people took all of you crazy, you're some religious bigot and all of this other stuff. And now what do you know? We're in this sort of era where it's okay for little boys to be put in dresses or dressing in drag and have money thrown at them like they stripping and stuff like that. And then we got this stuff but this is speaking to a larger issue and it's not going away.
Yeah, look, watch Glenn's special last night. Not to promote myself or whatever, but watch the special and then take this in context and see it's a multi-pronged, very well strategically executed attack on the sexuality of youth in this country. Comprehensive sex ed in the schools, the language, the Black Lives Matter movement in schools, this kind of stuff. You can't unsee something. People don't even know. There was child porn in almost every single Playboy that you happen to put out. And people say, there's no child porn. And then we'll go through it with you and say, there it is. And you go, dang, I never saw that. Yeah. Bambi. In the 1970s, Disney put a male erect penis, massive big, in Bambi, painted it in there just to desensitize. And parents go, no, so then I'll freeze. And they go, there it is. I saw it, but I didn't see it. Over time, you get to this place where executives go, nothing wrong, push it out. Fund it, push it out, distribute it, right? Unless the parents start taking ownership again and saying, no, not okay. This is not cool, right? Which is happening now. But there's so many instances like this, Eric, and it's been coming for a long time, since the 60s, when we embraced the sexual revolution. And it's, unfortunately, you have Beyonce playing the sex goddess halftime at the Super Bowl, practically naked, pregnant, disgracing herself, telling young girls, this is how you get attention. That same girl that now Beyonce is her everything says, what's wrong with Cuties? I want to twerk. Yeah. It's kind of cool because I'm already sexting.
Well, and just to make another really quick point for those of you who missed the special last night, who, again, you need to go and watch it. But to Cabot Phillips' point, he pointed out, if you had this picture, this minor female breast nudity on your computer, you'd go to jail. If it's on Netflix, it's considered art. And it just made me think of what Glenn was talking about with what you guys uncovered, which is if he couldn't show all of the documentation that he had because he could get in trouble if he showed the things that are just shown in the child's textbooks in the schools.
Look, the material I gave Glenn, Jason Buttrell, such a champion, right? The Blaze. And Blaze, by the way, the network is just a champion network for covering this. But if the material I gave them, they would publicize in public, that's 30-year jail sentence, okay? Obscene material is illegal unless you qualify under the Obscenity Exemption Statute 1970. And the Obscenity Exemption Statute said, well, police officers and nurses should look at material. Well, maybe scientists should also, and educators. So now you can put that crap in art, museums, textbooks, and it's legal. You take that same textbook on the playground in public, and you go to jail.
Incredible. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to remind you about the documentary out there, Riding the Dragon. If you want to know how much have the Bidens been compromised by the Chinese communist regime, you can find out in this new Bombshell documentary. It is called Riding the Dragon. It is exclusive to BlazeTV. It's from the directors behind the explosive Clinton cash. And it is a very, very revealing documentary showing how for decades Biden's family has used Joe Biden's public service to line their own pockets. This is something that you've been hearing from Glenn. He's done a bunch of chalkboards on it. We have been trying to sound the alarm on it. And now we are talking to the man who did all of the research, and the corruption goes very, very deep. Riding the Dragon reveals how the Chinese Communist Party gave Joe's son the son's private equity firm. This is Hunter. Where's Hunter? They gave them a sweetheart deal. This was worth in excess of $1 billion. And it's all true, by the way. I know a lot of people like to say, this is just conspiracy theory. No, it's not. It's all true. And we've got all of the facts to back it up. You can watch now on BlazeTV's YouTube. And make sure that you subscribe to the BlazeTV's YouTube, to that channel, so that you don't miss a thing. Don't forget, Riding the Dragon, available now on BlazeTV's YouTube. You can watch it for free at youtube.com/BlazeTV. Back in a minute. I promised you a Joe Biden gaffe today to unite the country, because it's what we do here at Blaze TV. Speaking at a campaign rally yesterday in Michigan, Joe Biden, he made it was just a tiny little bit of an error, overinflating the U.S. military COVID deaths that we've had. You know what? Let me just go ahead and play what he said, and then we'll do a little bit of fact checking. Watch.
I carry with me, I don't have it, I gave it to my staff, but I carry with me in my pocket do I have that around anyone? Where's my staff? I gave it away anyway. I carry a schedule in my pocket that lists every single day the number of troops lost in Afghanistan and Iraq, the number wounded. This is my schedule. The back of the schedule is always a black box. U.S. COVID infected military, U.S. COVID infected in America, 344,700. U.S. COVID deaths, 189,506. Military COVID infected, 118,984. Military COVID deaths, 6,114. Folks, every one of these lives matter. Every one of these lives left somebody behind, grieving. We can't ever forget them. Ever forget them.
So it's kind of awkward because Joe Biden just said there that the number of military COVID deaths is 6,114. And it's just that he was a little off. The math was actually done, and the correct answer is 7. So it just is not close at all.
Can I just eat the table?
Like just the not like 7,000, but just the 7, just the 7.
CDC, 96% of our death projections wrong. 7. Okay, this is the same
Which,
man.
again, they all matter, right? It's very horrible that even 7 died, but you can't
Every life, of course.
You can't go
Every
up
life
and
matters.
say over 6,000 military service members died from COVID-19. Oh, wait, it was 7.
But listen, number one, he said every life matters.
Yes.
I thought that's not legal, right? And secondly, this is the same man who told you 150 million Americans died by gun violence, half our population.
Right, that's right.
Okay.
That's
the worst thing about that whole clip is he read the dang quote. It wasn't even from his brain. It's premeditated. His team is so ignorant because they had the thing. None of them go, Joe, the numbers aren't right. No, hand me that thing. Because I can't remember. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get it right when he's reading it. No, it's still off. So it's got to be intentional, Eric. It has to be intentional lies to the American. I mean, can you be that stupid?
I mean, and Eric, just to kind of add to Yaku's point, he only overstated the number of infections. Let's not go with deaths. Infections, just by he overinflated that by 79,000, but just the 79,000.
Like, I want America to look at this, and definitely as it's coming from generally that side. It's not just Democrats though. And they see how the numbers just are constantly inflated, and the mistakes are always being made to where it's higher than what it actually is. Always, almost never underestimation. It's always an overestimation.
Right.
There's a reason for that. They want your obedience. They want your allegiance. They want you to be scared so they can present themselves generally as the heroes of the matter. See, if they come out and say, well, if you do catch it, you have a less than 1% chance of, dying or more. So if they come out and say you got 99% chance of surviving this thing, that doesn't create heroes. That doesn't sound as bad. But when you can try to funky up the numbers, a little misspeak here, a little overinflation there, And then you look at it and say, hey, well, I am, in Joe Biden's case, as well as the rest of his party, we're coming to save you guys because we care so much. Trump, the other guys, they don't care at all. You see all these deaths? That's their fault. If they were more like us, it wouldn't happen. And they are toying with your lives. They're toying with your kids' lives, your businesses, again, your life savings, the future assets of the unborn. So your future children I don't even got kids. I'm going to have kids, but they selling off their assets by way of pumping the Federal Reserve, pumping money into the economy that's out of nowhere, printing it out of thin air, all over this. And again, what is 6 months, 7? What I don't know. I don't even know how far are we out of 2 weeks to slow the spread. I have no idea. Nonetheless, you have to look at that and pay attention to it. We can't just sit up here and keep acting like, it's nothing. No, this is for real. They are playing with us, man. They're playing with us.
Well, and, the man who is playing with us primarily, we're talking about Joe Biden here, he doesn't understand what's ever going on at any given point of the day, which is kind of a problem. Here he is at that same campaign rally in Michigan. I hope that someone can write in and tell me what the hell he's trying to say, because I don't know. Watch.
And what makes his wild claims and hopes, he now hopes we don't notice what he said or won't remember. And when he does follow through or doesn't do when follow through, the exact opposite.
Yeah, man, that guy's out of control. Nobody can look at that and be like, he has it all upstairs. Nobody can look at that.
Bro, when your computer glitches, right? The brain's a computer. He's glitching, dude. He's glitching. Things are not. No, that is so not okay.
Go ahead.
When you left, then barbecue. Cat.
When you remember,
Mars. Come on, that is insane. He's glitching.
It really, he needs to go home.
Yeah.
He just needs to go home.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. A part of me, we're joking about it now because
it's abuse.
It is. We're joking about it now because what else can you do but laugh at it? But really, I mean, you got to be if you're his wife, how in the world do you continue trotting him out there every day, seeing what is happening to him, deteriorating before everyone's eyes? You could just let him live out in retirement respectfully, right?
A movie comes out 7 years from now, right? That really behind the scenes, the people in his campaign that was just cringing.
Oh yeah,
that movie comes out and go. When the light comes to them and go, let me tell you what really happened.
All the things they had to do to get him ready to go out on stage. All right, we'll be back.
That should be on a loop. What?
I don't even know where he was going.
All right, yesterday's poll, should taking a COVID vaccine be mandatory? 95.5% of you said no. 4.5% of you are entirely wrong and should rethink your entire life's work and existence. You're welcome. Also, just wanted to remind everyone, for those of you who have not yet, I know there are so many of you because sometimes I come on there and you guys think that I'm fake, but I'm not. Sometimes I come onto the live YouTube stream while this is streaming out to you and I talk to you guys, and I know there are a lot of you who watch it every single day. Do us a favor and go over to where you get your podcasts. If it's Apple Music, wherever it is, iTunes, whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm a boomer. I don't know what it's called. But go over there and subscribe to the podcast. Please rate and review the podcast. Obviously, give us 5 stars because it is the best podcast you've ever listened to in your life. Otherwise, why would you be watching us right now? That will help other people catch this podcast. Okay, and then maybe they will join you over at YouTube and you guys can have an even bigger family to talk to during all of the live streams. Have I made myself clear?
Yes.
Okay, it's not hard.
Joe Biden.
Get it done.
Thank you. I mean, but to be fair, Eric said I'm clearer than Joe Biden, but that's a pretty low bar.
Hey, he's running for president.
I mean, I spoke 2 words coherently, so that's already clearer than Joe Biden.
Yeah,
So.
very true.
Thanks, guys.